Welcome back, TAs. This short video is going to be on assessment, both on opening an assessment, editing an assessment, and accessing, helping students to understand their assessment results. So in order to do that, we are going to go into my past classes because I don't have any active assessments right now. So we're going to go into a class that I taught in the past, and I believe that was, we'll go to quarter 2, King in the Kingdom, using my own class, and we can go down to my final exam, which was done session 8. So during session 8, I had a final exam. So I'm clicking here under the final exam, right? And this is what an exam looks like. You can see when it's offered. It's offered in session 8. The title's final exam. It's for 15% of their grade. They can get up to 70 points. I give my students 2 hours and up to 3 attempts to take this exam. I do not allow them to view their assessment results. You should make sure that any assessments, exams, quizzes in your classes do not have this clip, especially if they have more than one attempt. Why? Because once they finish their attempt, they can go see all of the answers. And we want to make sure that everybody's had a chance to take the test before we put the answers out there. We don't want to tempt anyone unnecessarily. So we keep that unchecked. And then once the exam closes, then they'll be able to see their results. So it has the start date and time, the closing date and time, and then it has the students who were in this class, right? So what was happening here is you can see it looks like there was some makeup happening. How do I know that? Because there's only 2 students. So it looked like my final exam was reopened for Serenity and Melissa. And I can remove those. Although I can't remove them. But if I needed to add a session, so if you have a student who's missed an exam and you need to add it, you just go to add. You can click on that student. We'll use Mary Magnificent, add, and we will change the date to when you want that test to open and when you want that test to close. The time, the date, when you want it to open and when you want it to close. So let's say we want it to open today. Today's Tuesday, March 23rd. I would just use the drop-down menu, go to March. I'm going to open it for them for today, and they're going to take it this evening. So let's say I'm opening it at 5 p.m. tonight, and I've given them until later tonight. So they have all night. So I'll give them till 11:55. You can't click midnight. 11:55 is as close as you can get. And then I will click save. So now this student has the opportunity. I don't think it'll let me remove that. Yeah. This student will have the opportunity to go in and take that test. Now, Mary Magnificent is a fake student, so that's not how it's going to happen, but that's how you would do that. That's how you can allow one student to take a test without opening the test for the entire class. Now, the test itself in mine is broken up into 3 sections. So let's go ahead and look at that. My first section, as you can see, is true, false, multiple choice. With all of the answers are the ones that are marked in green. That's the answer that I've selected as the instructor. Now you'll notice some of these have multiple answers because when you look at the question, it says select all that apply. So if you want to see the background of the question, you click this. Which scriptures tells us how long the kingdom of God has been in existence? Select all that apply. Notice I put that in bold and I italicize and red and underline it so they really pay attention that there's more than one answer. And I have 3 answers selected. And I shuffle enable. What does that mean? That means every time this test is opened by a different student, these questions, these answers change order. So they can't memorize it's A, B, and D. Pick number 7's A, B, and D, because the next time it'll be different order, right? So that helps the student, the test, to keep its integrity. So what I wanted to show you, so that's the sections, right? You can go back to viewing the assessment and you can walk through each of the sections. I also have some free response. You'll notice that in my free response, there's 100 to 200, 150 to 250 words are required. I don't shuffle enable, so I keep them in the order that I want them. I ask the question, but I pick long text. So in the case where it's something like this, a long text, that gives the students a box to write an answer, but the computer doesn't grade that answer. It only grades true, false, matching, and multiple choice. It doesn't grade long answers. So I have to go in later and actually grade those essays by hand. All right. So a couple of things just to note there, that the exam doesn't always pop in up in the same order. Look at this middle section here was about systems and laws. Now, if I click this, the next time somebody opens it, questions 1 through, it looks like 1 through 26, the order will be shuffled around. So students need to know that number 1 is not always number 1, number 2 is not always number 2. In case they say, but the first time I put A for number 1, I got it right. Second time I put B for number 1, I got it right. Which one's the answer? Well, the question is, every time you open it, it could be in a different order. The assessment, and here's what I wanted to show you. So that's a little bit about test setup. But when you look at the report will tell you what the student has done. So for the first section, how many they got right? They had up to 3 attempts, right? The student had no attempts left, so they used all 3. That probably helped them to improve their score, which I'm fine with in my class. Steve Tunning is our imaginary student. So he has 3 attempts left because he never took the test, right? So 0 out of 20, 0 out of 20, 0 out of 20 has a 0% in the class. Right? So this shows you how the test is. So let's go ahead and look at a student's results and show you what it looks like when they get their assessment. When they can go back and look at their assessment, if they get it right, it looks like this. The check mark is the answer they picked and telling them, yes, you got the right answer. The right answer is the highlighted one. So that's what they want to see. If they get the wrong answer, you'll notice the student picked all 3 right answers, 3 checks. All 2 right answers, 2 checks. In this case, the answer was the church. But this student put Jesus, that it was Jesus' responsibility to enforce kingdom laws. It's not, it's our responsibility as the church. So since they got the wrong answer, the X is next to the answer they actually picked. The student picked Jesus. So that will help them to understand what this means. Okay? And then when they got the right answers all the way down, they check in the highlighted line. And that's it. That helps them to see their answers. So I hope that is helpful for you. And you can see the free response when those are graded. Let's go ahead and take a look. Right. So they have filled in their answer here. I've read the answer, gave the student 5 points. Right. Occasionally, I'll make some feedback comments. Sometimes I don't. In this case, it looks like I didn't make any feedback comments. They left one blank, so they got a 0. Right. And that's a graded assessment. So how to open and close an assessment and assignment, and how to interpret results. Hope that is helpful.